She walked out of work like any normal day. But within hours, something inside that salon turned into a nightmare so brutal that even seasoned detectives struggled to process it. There was blood, signs of a violent struggle, and a coworker who didn't just disappear. She erased herself. What investigators uncovered next would expose a chilling double life, a twisted mind, and a crime so disturbing, it still leaves people speechless. The morning Joleen Cummings didn't show up, something felt wrong immediately. This wasn't like her. She was a devoted mother, the kind who never missed time with her kids, never ignored a call, never just vanished. But that Sunday came and went without a single word from her. No messages, no activity, no trace. By the next day, panic had already started to spread. Friends, family, coworkers, they all said the same thing. Joleen wouldn't just disappear. Not like this. Not without her children. The last place anyone had seen her was Tangle's Hair Salon in Ulay, Florida. It had been a busy Saturday, packed with clients. She was in good spirits, laughing, talking, doing what she always did, making people feel comfortable. There was nothing unusual about her behavior. No signs of fear. No indication that anything was about to go terribly wrong. But she never made it home. When investigators began looking into her disappearance, they started with the obvious, her relationships. Her ex-husband, Joleen Cummings, came forward immediately. He was cooperative and clearly shaken. His alibi checked out. He had nothing to hide, but he did point detectives in another direction. Someone he didn't trust, Jason G. Joleen's on and off boyfriend had already raised concerns. Just days before she vanished, a neighbor had reported hearing chaos coming from Joleen's home. Loud crashes, screaming, and Joleen yelling for her kids to shut the door. By the time police arrived, Jason G was gone. When they eventually found him, he was hiding, literally buried under cardboard boxes inside another house. He admitted there had been an argument, said he lost control, smashed things, then left. But his story didn't add up. His arms had scratches. His timeline was vague. And when detectives pushed him, he stopped talking and asked for a lawyer. For a moment, it seemed like everything pointed to him, but then something changed. On May 16th, investigators found Joleen's Ford SUV abandoned in a Home Depot parking lot just a couple of miles from the salon. That discovery shifted the entire case. Surveillance footage revealed something unsettling. At around 1:15 a.m., the SUV pulled into the lot. A figure dressed entirely in black stepped out, locked the vehicle, and walked away quickly. The movements were deliberate, controlled, not panicked. Cameras tracked the figure to a nearby gas station. There, things got even stranger. The person, now clearly a woman, asked to borrow a phone. She spoke rapidly, almost erratically, rambling about drugs, alcohol, and the human body. The clerk later described the interaction as one of the strangest he'd ever experienced. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. Disconnected, intense, unsettling. She called for a taxi, and then she vanished. But investigators now knew something critical. Whoever that woman was, she had been driving Joleen's car. Back at the salon, a forensic team began a full search. What they found confirmed everyone's worst fear. Blood, not just a small amount, but large pools of it. Someone had tried to clean it up, but under luminol, the truth was impossible to hide. The glowing patterns told a clear story. There had been a violent struggle, and it had happened right there, inside the salon. At that moment, the case shifted from a missing person to something far darker. This wasn't a disappearance. This was a murder. With Jason G becoming less likely, detectives turned their attention to the people who had been with Joleen that day. Coworkers, staff, anyone who had seen her last. One name stood out immediately: Jennifer Siebert. She had worked alongside Joleen that entire day, but when officers went looking for her, something strange happened. She wasn't at the salon. even though she was scheduled to be there. Her boss called her, and just minutes later, she drove into the parking lot. She saw the police, and then she drove away. No explanation, no conversation, just gone. Shortly after, she called back and said something chilling. "I quit. You'll never see me again. Just mail my last paycheck." That was the moment everything changed. When investigators showed the gas station footage to people at the salon, the reaction was immediate. Everyone recognized the woman in black. It was Jennifer. Now she wasn't just a coworker, she was the last known person to see Joleen alive, and the one caught abandoning her car. But when police tried to track her down, they hit another wall. The address she had provided, fake. Phone calls, ignored. Jennifer Siebert had disappeared, just like Joleen. As detectives dug deeper into Jennifer's past, what they uncovered was deeply unsettling. She had only worked at the salon for about a month, but even in that short time, she had made an impression, and not a good one. Coworkers described her as unpredictable, tense, someone who didn't fit in. There were moments when her behavior crossed into something almost disturbing. Sudden outbursts, strange habits, a constant sense that something about her wasn't right. And then came the discovery that changed everything. Jennifer Siebert didn't exist. Her real name was Kimberly Kessler, and she had been missing for nearly 14 years. Back in 2004, her own mother had reported her missing in Pennsylvania. Since then, Kimberly had built an entirely new life under false identities. Not just one, but dozens. She had used over 25 different names, lived in multiple states, and constantly changed her appearance to avoid detection. This wasn't just someone hiding. This was someone who had perfected the art of disappearing. When police finally located her, she was sleeping in her car at a gas station miles away. Her body showed signs of injury, bruises, scratches, as if she had been in a fight. At first, she was arrested for car theft, but investigators already knew this case went far beyond that. During questioning, Kimberly remained calm. Too calm. She denied everything, claimed she didn't know where Joleen was, even denied stealing the car, despite being caught on camera. Then, without warning, she made a strange accusation. She claimed Joleen used drugs. It felt random, out of place, like a desperate attempt to redirect the conversation. But detectives weren't buying it, and when they pushed harder, she shut down and asked for a lawyer. Still, the evidence was already building. Surveillance footage showed Kimberly throwing multiple trash bags into bins behind the salon shortly after Joleen disappeared. That led investigators to a landfill, a massive, overwhelming expanse filled with millions of pounds of waste. The odds of finding anything were almost impossible. But then, they found something. A plastic container lid, nearby, in a wooded area. And that was just the beginning. When police searched a storage unit linked to Kimberly, what they found was horrifying. Blood-stained items, tools, containers, evidence that painted a clear and brutal picture. DNA testing confirmed it. The blood belonged to Joleen. Among the items, investigators found one of her fingernails, a silent but powerful indication that she had fought back. There were also knives covered in blood. Some of it belonged to Kimberly herself, suggesting a violent struggle between the two. And then came something even more disturbing. Kimberly's personal writings, pages filled with erratic thoughts, names listed alongside words like evil, Satan, witch, journal entries that spiraled into paranoia, claims of being followed, watched, targeted. Her search history revealed chilling intent. Phrases like, no body, no crime, female serial killers, and even searches for Joleen's name. This wasn't random. This was calculated. Further surveillance revealed that on the night Joleen disappeared, Kimberly had gone to Walmart. There, she purchased an electric knife, ammonia, and zip ties. Items that would soon take on a horrifying significance. Later that same night, cameras captured her returning to the salon. Over the next few hours, she was seen carrying out large trash bags and disposing of them. Investigators pieced it together. Joleen had likely been killed inside the salon, her body dismembered, and then disposed of in multiple locations. But despite the overwhelming evidence, Joleen's body was never found. When Kimberly was formally charged, her behavior remained disturbingly detached. She laughed, she joked, she acted as if none of it mattered. Even behind bars, her actions became more erratic. She refused to eat, claimed people were trying to poison her, and spiraled into bizarre outbursts. At one point, she lost nearly 100 pounds, but when evaluated, she was declared fit to stand trial. Because beneath the chaos, there was intent, there was awareness, there was control. During the trial, prosecutors presented multiple possible motives. One theory suggested that Joleen had begun to suspect the truth, that Jennifer wasn't who she claimed to be, that she had started confronting her, calling her out, threatening to expose her. For someone like Kimberly, who had spent years hiding behind false identities, that threat may have been enough. Another theory pointed to jealousy. Joleen had everything Kimberly didn't: friends, stability, a life built on genuine connections, and maybe, just maybe, Kimberly couldn't stand it anymore. The defense argued there was no proof of premeditation, but the evidence told a different story. The purchases, the timing, the cleanup, the attempt to disappear, it all pointed to planning. And in the end, the jury agreed. Kimberly Kessler was found guilty of first-degree murder and grand theft auto. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
We, the jury, found the defendant guilty of first-degree murder.
For the community, it brought some sense of closure. But for Joleen's family, it was never enough, because her remains have never been found. Her children grew up without her. Her mother still carries the weight of unanswered questions. And the salon where she once worked, once filled with laughter and life, closed its doors for good. Some crimes end with answers. This one ends with silence, and a haunting question that still lingers. What truly happened in those final moments inside that salon?